What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. As always, joined by your hosts, myself, Alex Fishbein, big sexy Dennis Clausen. What's going on, Dennis?
What it is.
What it is, what it do.
Just got to do a little adjusting. There we go.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Got to show the haircut.
I didn't get my haircut though. It's a little cold here in Syracuse this time of year, so I'm going a little thicker with the beard.
Okay.
A little thicker on top, but you know.
I've been needing a haircut as well, but like I
could tell.
Beard's getting real thick for me.
It's good. I like it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Makes you look like reaffirms your stance as a man.
Oh, of course. This is my time to be like grizzly. You know what I mean?
Not Memphis Grizzly.
No, not Memphis Grizzly. Never Memphis Grizzly. So how you been? How's life?
It's taken forever.
I hear that. I get it.
How's things going with you?
Not too bad. Same old. Work is kicking my ass lately, but we live on.
You're supposed to make people think that we do this for a full-time job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is kicking my ass.
Yeah, we're too busy working.
Yeah. Too busy recording a ton of videos.
Yeah, cool content.
I mean, maybe one day, if all of you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, then this will be our full-time job.
It would be sweet.
That'd be amazing. That's the dream. To just sit here and shoot the shit, talk basketball, and every other topic that we talk about along the way. That'd be
Talk
great.
about White Castle and pizza and bagels and ice cream and slushies and water ice.
Ranking Thanksgiving food.
Ranking Thanksgiving foods and who Ime Udoka's laying the pipe to these days. Speaking about that, is he even still with his fiance?
That's a good question. So she just had her first interview since the whole thing.
But why do we have to hear from her? Like, what is she like?
Well, I guess she wants to tell her side of the story.
I mean, there's really nothing to say. He cheated on you.
I know. I mean, from her point of view, it's not like anything she did, so she's not the one that has to answer for anything. But she said that it was something along the lines of just like she thought the Celtics handled it poorly. And I think she also said something along the lines of like they just aren't living together at the moment or anything. I don't know if they're I think they're still technically together.
Okay, so they're never getting back together is what...
Probably not.
Right, correct, okay.
From what I've heard. Deanna also, she didn't comment on here, but she texted me and said that she'd also like it if this was our full-time job. So.
She knows.
She knows.
She's smart and she's beautiful, so she knows. She's lovely.
Exactly. That's why I had to capitalize. I had to strike while the iron was hot, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, getting into some actual basketball. The very first thing we got to talk about is your man's. Scottie Barnes. A lot of people talking about the sophomore slump. I mean, he hasn't been especially terrible per se, but he definitely hasn't been up to what we've talked about. He has regressed in a few different stat categories this year. And his overall shooting has taken a step back, but his 3-point shooting has gone up a little bit. Right now, averages of 14.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal a game with 2.5 turnovers, shooting 45% from the floor, 32% from 3, 66% from the free throw line. I mean, what do you think?
I'll take it from here.
Okay.
For one, he's actually shooting better, like you said, that from the 3-point line. He's actually better from 3. Okay, he shot 52% from deep in October. Is anybody talking about that? Was anybody making a big deal when Scottie Barnes would shoot 52% from deep in October?
No,
Granted, it was
I didn't
only
hear
6.
a peep.
No, granted, it was only 6 games. October was, short, obviously, but he played well. He's averaging 1 point less than he did last year. 3-point range percentage has dropped since then, but he still scored 21 points last night against Boston, or on Monday against Boston. Yep. He had 17 and 4 against Orlando. Anybody say anything about that? Yeah, he shot 1 for 6 against Boston, but he still scored 21. He had that 17 and 14 against Orlando. So 17 rebounds and 14 rebounds, or 17 points and 14 rebounds. Like, we're not talking about that. We're more focused on what he's doing from 3-point range. He was a rebound shy of a double-double against Brooklyn. You didn't hear shit about that. And you got to take into account, too, that this is a guy the Raptors have been decimated by injuries throughout the entire season. Pascal Siakam missed a shit ton of time with a strained nutsack or whatever he had going on, groin strain. Fred VanVleet was out. Delano Banton was out.
Gary Trent was out.
OG Anunoby's like staying healthy miraculously. I don't know how the hell that happened. So Scottie Barnes, though, is a guy he can be moved around. He's very versatile. He can play the point guard and everything. But what happens there is when you get a guy who has to do different things and take on different roles and different responsibilities and not have the same guys on the floor that he's used to having. So if he's not ready to be the primary scoring option anywhere, he's not consistent enough, okay? When you give that guy that much opportunities at 22, 23 years old and tell him very few guys outside of like LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Luka can take on that kind of stuff. We already knew coming into the league that Scottie Barnes' shooting was a little suspect. Okay, he's not the best shooter ever. He adds a lot. He's kind of like Ben Simmons in a way, but he can actually like shoot a lot better. But he's very versatile. He can get rebounds. He can get you stuff on the defensive end. So he can do a lot of things for you. He can play really, really well at times. If he goes on a slump at his age, whatever, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, the Raptors, when you're not playing on the same floor as a guy like with Pascal Siakam or Fred VanVleet, and you're thrust into different things and you're asked to do different things every night, like, it's going to not be good all the time. So let's lay off of him.
I agree. And I mean, it's been ridiculous because obviously, one of your favorite places where I read a lot of this was Reddit. The everyone commenting on there talked about how like they're like comparing him to Michael Carter Williams and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, there is no correlation between the two.
Get out of here!
Exactly. Like, the thing is, Scottie Barnes is a 4, and you can deal with a power forward that doesn't shoot 40% from 3 and all these kind of shooting percentages from deep. When you have a point guard that shoots like 20-some% from 3, that's a whole different story because that's normally the guard's job. And in this day and age, when the 3-point ability is more important than ever, yeah, MCW is going to fade away into oblivion because he's not that good of a player. He just wasn't. He was good enough to maybe sit at like the 12th spot in a rotation, but that was it. Scottie Barnes is nowhere close to that. He's so much better than that. And there's going to be a slump for almost everybody's sophomore year, because then other teams start getting more game film on you. There's a lot of people that start actually game planning against you if you are good enough to be game planned against. Like, you have plenty of guys that come into their second year that, can still kind of do what they did the first year, because defenses don't care what they do because they're not that good. Scottie Barnes is one of the integral parts of the team, so they have to game plan against the things that he can do.
I stand corrected. He's 21.
Yeah.
The guy just started fucking. He couldn't even drink last year. Didn't even have, well, in Toronto he could, but outside of Toronto he wasn't drinking.
And he's like sort of freshly 21.
Right. He's not
His
like.
birthday was in August.
Right. He just literally the guy's not even done growing yet.
Exactly.
I believe, but you have to ask the misses what age people. I think it's usually they stop growing at like 21 or 12. But so he's probably not even done growing yet. This guy could grow another foot in the next year.
His brain's still developing.
His brain is still developing.
I know. I remember she said
drink alcohol.
Exactly. I remember she said your brain develops up until I think it was like the mid-20s or something like that. Maybe even later than that, but I forget exactly. So yeah, that's still going. But anyway, like he had like a little bad stretch of games. Yes, the one game he got benched like pretty much at halftime. I think it was like a couple minutes after halftime, whatever. But also in that game, the whole team sucked. Against the Pelicans, they lost by 18. Like, it wasn't just his fault in that game. People are acting like, oh, just because he had a bad game, the team gets blown out. Van Vliet shot 1 of 8. He had 2 points the entire game. He only played 20 minutes. He also got benched. Chris Boucher, he sucked. They even brought in Kem Birch to try something, and he wasn't good. Thaddeus Young wasn't great. He essentially did nothing. Even Pascal Siakam, even though he had 23 points, was in there and was a minus 12. He had 5 turnovers. Like, you can go down the line and pick any player from the Raptors and show the contributions to losing from every single one of them. It's not just the Scottie Barnes thing. And like you said, they've been dealing with the injuries, and it's going to be tougher to get a bucket if the only people out there in the normal starting lineup are you and OG Anunoby.
Very tough, especially when you have, then you're relying on Thaddeus Young as a scoring option. You're relying on, Gary Trent's a good player, but he's not Mr. Consistency all the time. He's better off the bench and in that type of role. So, yeah, the Raptors have just been hurt. Like, well, let's stop making a big deal about it. Why bench a guy? What are you trying to prove by putting him on the bench? Trying to teach him a guy a lesson? What is he in college? You got to teach him a lesson. You know what I mean? But
right,
the plan should be to keep these guys on the floor as much as possible. Have them build a rapport with each other. Have them get familiarized with each other again. Just like the Nets. Like, the Nets are starting to gel because they're playing together more. Guys are starting to feel each other out a little bit more. They're starting to make better passes and things like that. That's what you need to do when you're the Raptors. You need to just keep your group going and keep them going together. So 3-point shooting, like we overemphasize 3-point shooting way too much. And that's Steph Curry's fault because he's so good at it. But there's more to everything besides whether somebody can shoot a 3-point shot or not. The guy's averaging 1 point less. Now, if somebody came up and said he's averaging 6%, 6% less from the free throw line, which he's averaging less than, 6%, 7% less than he was last year. If you came up and you said that okay, I might be able to be like, oh, okay. But he's not even shooting that. He's fine. Everybody needs to fucking relax.
1,000% agreed.
He has more assists. He's averaging more assists than he did last season. Anybody can talk about that?
By a pretty good margin, too. 5 assists compared to 3.5 last year. Still averaging about a steal per game too, averaging more blocks, even though it's a marginal number. That is what it is. Like he still has been improving in some areas. He also got his first career triple double this season. He didn't have one all of last season. Like, there are still good things about his game this year. Sure, it might just be like a little bit of a rough stretch. Like he had a few games in there where he had like 4 points, 5 points, 8 points, whatever. But you can also go through and be like, oh, he had 21, 28, 17, 17, 21. Like there's plenty of ups and downs to his game this season. And I think it's just lazy for people to be like, oh, sophomore slump. That's all it is. He's going to be terrible. He's going to suck. Like, no, that's just stupid.
I'll still take him.
Oh, I would too. In a heartbeat. Like, if you said, the Sixers are going to trade X, Y, and Z for Scottie Barnes, I'd be like, fucking sign me up yesterday. Every time.
James Harden for Scottie Barnes.
I'd probably do it. I mean, that's a good segue, too. We can actually segue now. We'll segue that.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, there you go. We'll segue that into the fact that James Harden returned from injury against his former team, the Houston Rockets, where he really made his stamp and his legacy. And he sucked. He was quite bad. The team lost in double overtime to the pitiful team of the Houston Rockets. And
sorry, you hear that? There's a whistle going on.
Yeah, I hear like a siren.
So is North Korea? What are they up to?
I actually had we're not that far from a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, neither am I.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they did their siren testing 2 days ago, and I was like on a meeting, and all I heard was just through the windows, through my headphones, just the siren just incessantly going.
Like I get it if you're trying to warn me of a nuclear attack. For one, I'm gonna die anyways, because if I don't get killed by the nuke, I'm gonna starve to death eventually.
Right.
Even though for me it'll probably take me a couple of years, unless the radiation sickness kills me. But even if I do get hit by the nuke, can you stop with the fucking fire whistle? Let me just enjoy my last couple minutes without hearing that thing.
It's true. But also, if you're getting hit by a nuke or if they're blowing up a nuclear power plant, the siren is supposed to warn you to get out of here, but you have to be able to get very far away to still not die. You have to go to another state. So right. That's still not going to help.
Literally what I'm going to do is if this is what's going on, if I find out, Porky Pig over there in North Korea finally launched the nuke, mm-hmm. I'm just going to sit down and just turn on basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take my chances.
What else is there to do really other than talk to family and just have a final dinner?
Yeah, I already ate though.
Did you ever see that new movie Don't Look Up?
No.
It was pretty funny, but all they did was they had the family and friends over and they just ate a dinner and then they all died because of the meteor striking. And it was just what else are you supposed to do? You can't just go do everything you ever wanted to do in your life because you don't have that much time.
Yeah, I mean, but just stop with the fire whistle. They finally stopped, and I'm like, thank God. I think that's worse than actually getting hit with the nuke. It's fucking annoying.
Agreed. The tests feel like they go on forever too.
And then you're sitting up in the middle. You're sitting up in the middle of the night. It's 2:00 in the morning. Next thing you know, they do that emergency broadcast thing, and you shit your pants.
Yep. Oh, every time. The bang.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's bro, I'm just trying to watch Hornets recaps.
Exactly. I want to see what PJ Washington is doing. I'm just trying to watch this Kings versus Warriors game.
Oh, I'd be totally into that.
Oh, yeah. The Kings are looking good. But anyway, back to James Harden. So, yeah, the Sixers played in Houston last night. They ended up losing in double overtime. Embiid fouled out. Harden couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He shot 4 of 19, and the only 4 shots he made were threes. He was 4 of 11 from 3. And he was 9 of 10 from the free throw line. So the free throws made his final stat line look better than it really was. He finished with 21 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 7 turnovers. So not only did he shoot like shit, but he also turned the ball over a shit ton. And the moral of the game is he looked like shit. So we're gonna just summarize it with shit.
I mean, can you put like a shit emoji thing down at the bottom?
I can add it.
Just put shit, or just put a poop thing on there.
Just a poop emoji for the whole thing.
Yeah, just shit, because that's.
Let's try it. Should I add a toilet too, or just shit?
No, it's up to you.
We'll just do the shit. There we go. There it is.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that
James
sums
Harden.
it up. All right. Well, it's not. Embiid fouled out, but consider they played about 186 minutes. Between about 9 quarters between those two. Like, he's gonna foul out. No big deal. It's Harden's first game back in like 12, 13 games, some shit like that.
It feels like it, yeah.
Then you're playing a bunch of like 15-year-old kids on the Rockets. They're all fucking fast. So, I mean, shit happens. What are you going to do? The oldest guy on the team, I think, is Eric Gordon.
I think so, yeah.
And
Well, it was funny that like there was a couple times Eric Gordon had a shot to like either tie the game or take the lead, and he missed every one of them. And it was like PJ Tucker and James Harden kind of just looked at him and they're like, he's not gonna make it.
Yeah, well, all those guys are saying. Well, then you got PJ Tucker out there. He's about 57 at this point in time.
Oh yeah.
So he's ready for Medicare. So yeah, you got a bunch of old fucks out there against a bunch of like kids.
I know.
Like those kids. They had school earlier the day, and then they had to go play a game against the Sixers.
They had study hall and then they had to go play
Right.
an NBA game.
But it's too bad that they had double overtime because they had a chemistry test tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Now they're gonna fail the test because it's not open book.
I mean, of course he's tired. He's tired. He wasn't even supposed to play as much as he did. He just decided to. They were going to cap him. I forget what the number was, but he ended up playing 37 minutes. I think he played.
Yeah, something like that. 38 minutes. Yeah.
All right, you play 38 minutes after 14, 12 games, whatever the hell it was, and okay, well he had 7 turnovers. No shit, he's tired. Plus, you got all these quick guys on the Rockets. They're all fast.
Right. My thing was, if you're supposed to cap him, like at that point, just fucking cap him. Like D'Anthony Melton and Shake Milton were playing perfectly fine when he wasn't there. I mean, like especially finally, Doc Rivers came out and said like, "Oh, Shake has played his way into the like permanently into the lineup." It's like, well, he probably should have been permanently in the lineup in the first place.
No, it took him 2 years.
Exactly. And I was like, it also took you fucking forever to put B-Ball Paul in the fucking lineup. And now that you put him in there, oh my God, look, the defense is getting better. The beginning of the season, the defense was god-awful. Now, the defense is in like the top 3 in the league. And like the only big difference is the fact that Harden was hurt. And then Maxey got hurt. But then you played B-Ball Paul and you stopped playing Montrezl Harrell.
Good.
Like, it's not rocket science.
Trying to pick a fight with the best player in the world.
And a ladder.
And a ladder. Can't do shit on the floor, but he has no problem going up and saying something to a guy who just wants to shoot free throws after, making 22% that night from the free throw line.
Exactly.
Even though nobody talks about that, but people want to talk about Scottie Barnes. But
exactly.
I digress. Anywho.
But yeah, I know it's his first game back. He'll probably get a little bit better. The thing is, I'm just curious Because, like, we've seen him get hurt a few times and then just kind of disappear because, like, the injury kind of lingers. I'm hoping that's not the case. I mean, in his first 9 games that he played, he only had really 2 bad shooting games. There was, like, the one against the Spurs, he shot 22%. And then against the Bulls, he shot 15%. But the rest of them, he shot the lowest he shot was 42%. And then he had 17 assists the one game, 5 total games he had double digit assists, and a couple others he was just like 1 or 2 away. He was really looking like he was back to James Harden in those first 9 games before getting hurt. And so I'm just concerned because I don't want that to linger again and then him go back to, like, how he looked in Brooklyn and things like that, and just last year when he was traded to the Sixers as well.
You're overreacting, honey. Take a deep breath. Relax.
No, I'm just saying it's a worry. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a worry. It's a legitimate worry.
You want me to make you feel better? I got a couple things to tell you.
Okay.
So this should make you feel better. By the way, it's going to be interesting though to see what happens to DeAnthony Melton, because Melton was playing well while Harden was out. He was at 11.9 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. So that's pretty good for him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'll take it. However, there's some light at the end of the tunnel here, because the schedule the Sixers have coming up. They have 6 home games coming up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna open up their 6-game homestand against the Lakers, who they've won 3 in a row. The Lakers are picking things up, but it's still the Lakers. They're still 10-12. Okay, so there's still a chance. Then the Hornets, who are 3-9 on the road, so that should be a win. If there's not, there's a problem.
Right.
Then the Warriors come to town, who the Warriors have been absolutely horrendous on the road this year. They cannot win on the road. 2-10 on the road. Toronto comes in. They're 12-12 right now. They're still working their way through some kinks. Detroit is Detroit. 2-11 on the road, 6-19 on the season. The Clippers are coming to end that 6-game homestand. Who the hell knows who's going to be available? Who knows if Kawhi is going to play? Who knows Paul George is going to play? Who knows John Wall's like? Who knows? You never know what you're going to get with the Clippers. The other day, Norm Powell didn't play, so who knows? True. Then they're going to hit the road. And they're going to MSG against the Knicks. Then they're going to Washington against those bums down there in D.C. Then they got to go to New Orleans, so that's probably not going to work out for them too well. But then they get to finish it off with OKC. So if you're looking at that, it's conceivable that Philly they're 12-12 now. It's conceivable that they could win 7 of those 10 games.
True. I mean, for sure.
I'm going to say at least 6. They're going to win at least 6 of those games. They won't win more than 7, but if they don't win at least 6 of those games, there's a problem. I'll give you the Lakers. The Lakers have been hot, but if you can't beat the Hornets, if you can't at least be competitive against Toronto, if you don't mop the floor with Detroit or the Knicks or Washington or OKC, there's a fucking problem. And then we might have to start we might have to start talking about a coaching change, because you're talking about a team that was supposed to win the in the hunt for at least an Eastern Conference title. Mm-hmm. That's where I was at the beginning of the season.
Right.
That could still happen, but if you don't win 6 of those fucking games out of 10, it may be time for Doc to hit the bricks.
No, I agree, and I think that's going to be a big test too, especially because Maxey should be coming back soon-ish. So
yeah, but even if you don't have Maxey, you still have Harden.
Oh yeah.
Tobias Harris, what do you have the other night? 27 points, I think he had against Boston. He played well. He's starting to play a little bit better. By the way, my eyes look like they're closing. I'm not sleeping. I don't know why my eyes do that, but anyway, this might be a fat guy thing. But anyways. The only games if they lose that I would give them is if they lost to the Lakers, the Warriors, New Orleans, maybe Toronto. I'll give you 4 of those. But if you can't beat the Hornets, if you can't beat Detroit, especially if the Clippers aren't at full strength, who the hell knows if they're having a back to back that day or whatever the story. Guys, when they got to go across the country, they all of a sudden they have knee flare ups and they can't make the trip for some
Yeah.
reason. I'm gonna stay back here in LA. My knee's bothering me.
They sprain their ankle doing high knees on the plane like Russell Wilson.
Right. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? But they need to beat the Knicks. They need to beat Washington. They need to beat the Pelicans, and then or not the Pelicans, and then the Thunder. The Pelicans. If you lose to the Pelicans, okay, I get it. But if you don't give me 6, I want 6. You don't give me 6, I want Doc out of there.
I completely agree. I mean,
That's complete
I like that.
bullshit. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's the thing is
Because
like,
they're way too good of a team to be fucking around like this. They have so much. They have the best player. You could argue that Joel Embiid's the best player in the world. He was out of shape when he first started the season. Okay, he's getting in better shape. He should be back to dominance. I should not be hearing Jason Tatum. I should not be hearing Luka as MVP. This is supposed to be fucking Joel Embiid's year.
yep,
He barely didn't make MVP last season. So everybody was convinced when Joel Embiid comes back, he's going to win the MVP. So far, he hasn't even done it. But he needs to step it up. Okay, he was out of shape. He was sick or whatever. Plantar fasciitis.
hmm
But this is his year. He could still win MVP. He needs to start playing like it.
oh yeah, the
If the
MVP
other,
race is still wide open.
Absolutely. But he needs to start doing it. Last season, he was basically doing it all by himself. And unfortunately,
Right.
that's where the Sixers need to go. And James Harden's around good and everything, but James Harden is not the primary scoring option like he used to be. Joel Embiid should have the ball in his hands basically the entire game.
And my issue too is,
Thank you.
no, I agree 100%.
I'm getting fired up.
The issue too
Because
is,
it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it's absolutely ridiculous. He was so close to winning the MVP last year. Everybody said he should be the MVP. Okay, shouldn't that motivate you to come back and not play like shit or get your team into? So if you don't win 6 of these fucking 10 games, then Doc needs to go.
yep, and like Doc actually, I don't know if this was Doc's doing or if Embiid just decided to start doing this, but the 2 or 3 games leading up until James Harden returned, Embiid was distributing so well. They gave him the ball in like the high post, and instead of just putting his head down and just, going and doing whatever he does on an ISO, he was actually keeping the ball high, looking around. People were moving, people were cutting, they were setting screens. He was getting like 7 assists, 8 assists on top of like high 20s in points and everything like that. Like, Embiid was showing the playmaking ability that everyone shit on him for last season and said, like, that's the reason why Jokic deserved the MVP over him, is because Jokic had the passing ability. Well, Embiid was showing that in that, like, 2 to 3 game stretch, and then Harden comes back, and it goes back to the same old fucking give him the ball and just not do anything.
Let it out.
It's the most frustrating thing to watch, is just that, like, the recipe to win is right in front of their fucking face, because they went out and won when Harden, Embiid, and Maxey were all out. Embiid comes back, they still find ways to win, but by distributing the ball, getting everyone involved, and still getting Embiid his points. Now Harden comes back, and that all stops, and you lose in double overtime to the fucking Houston Rockets. Like,
They're young,
it's right
though.
there.
They're tired.
I know they're young, but like the 2 plays at the very end of the game too that just killed me. The Sixers had the ball. I forget if it was the end of the first overtime or regulation. They had the ball. Harden does his normal ISO bullshit, goes to shoot it, and gets blocked. It's like, Harden, everyone's seen your game tape and have seen you do this same fucking move 2,000 times. by now, especially when you're facing these younger, more athletic guys, they can regain and block that shot. It's not that hard anymore, especially because he's not getting the separation he once did. Then, to end double overtime, to end the game, he's dribbling. They just poke the ball right out. They know you're just going to sit there and go between your legs 10 times and then do a step back. I can probably go in that game alone and point out that same move that fucking happened 10 times. So why would they expect any different in that regard? And then on top of that, they even fucked up the fast break because Jalen Green tried to throw an alley-oop and didn't know a defender was there. And then they still got the ball back and scored. So it's just like, why can't the quality of basketball and the style of basketball stay the way it was when they kept winning, even when Harden is back? I just don't get it.
You have to excuse me. I missed about half of what you said because somebody sent me a text and they were eating Turkey Hill chocolate marshmallow.
Was it Mike?
No, it wasn't Mike.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah, remember Embiid had that like historic game? That's the level he needs to be at.
Right. And then
I want ice cream.
When Harden and Maxey were both out for that stretch before Harden came back, Shake Milton averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists a game, shooting 54% from the floor and 43% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. But it took you that long and that many injuries to actually give him more than, let's see, before that he was playing like 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 15 minutes. When the only other guard you have off the bench is DeAnthony Melton. Who, don't get me wrong, I love Melton. But like, but Doc is deciding to play fucking Daniel House. Because he can't even say Daniel.
The boss called him, though. The boss said, hey, you better get my boy. You better get my Houston boys in there, or else.
True. But it's just like, sitting there and just seeing the dumbest rotations is just like what I've grown accustomed to with Doc Rivers. And I just want to claw my eyes out every time.
I'll give him 6. He gets four losses out of the next 10. If he doesn't get 6, he's fired.
And we're coming on here and demanding it.
Right.
So moving on, you brought up the Lakers. Oh, wait, go ahead. Did you have something else?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. You brought up the Lakers. Anthony Davis. We have given him a lot of shit on this show. With all the little ticky-tack injuries and missing 5 games here for this and 10 games here for that and 7 games here for this. And this year, even though he has had a bit of like a dinged up back, he's, picked up a couple little injuries but has played through them all. He's been fucking dominating.
It's actually really strange, to be honest with you.
I agree.
He's playing not just like, but I just wonder, like, when are we going to get to the point where we're talking about Anthony Davis being in the MVP conversation?
He should be.
Are we at that level yet? So
I think he should be.
He's averaging 28 points a game. Last season he averaged 23. He's played 20 games. He's played 20 games, like, and the thing about Anthony Davis, I mean, he can't shoot. He's not a good shooter, but you think he's at over 2 blocks. He's got a steal a game.
He's averaging his most rebounds a game in his career, too.
What does he have, 12 rebounds right now?
Almost 13, 12.8.
Okay, so we got a guy who's averaging 28, 12. How many blocks? 2.6,
2.6, yep.
And then
2.6 assists and 1.4 steals.
Right. What is he shooting, like 30% from 3?
33% from 3, 59% from the floor, and 83% from the line.
Okay, so he's played 20 games. All right. Granted, he's been on the injury report before every game, but I wouldn't feel like complete if I didn't see Anthony Davis on the injury report. Like, I want him on the injury report, even if he's not hurt. I just want him to be on there
It
because
should be cause for injury. Just wanted to be here.
right, like it won't feel right. But we need to start talking about Anthony Davis as the MVP, like
I agree.
immediately.
I completely agree.
This guy was arguably the best player in the NBA for a long time. When he was in New Orleans,
Yep.
he had some crappy teams that he was playing on. But people forget just how dominant he was. He
Agreed.
kind of became a punchline when he's just hurt so much, but this is a different Anthony Davis though, I feel like. I've seen him take injuries or take falls that if he would have taken them last season, he would have been out for 4 weeks and then required 2 weeks of rehab. This season, he's played through a bad back, and he's you could tell that he's really hobbled by that because the way he moves and everything, you could see just he's in a ton of pain. But I think finally it clicked with him though that people are there. You know, I think he's heard enough from people to the point to where he's mindful of how much he's going to be on the floor.
Right.
So right now, if he keeps playing like this, then I'll have to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry for breaking this guy's balls every chance I had, because it's actually nice to see. And there was some quote I think I saw that said, you know, if he had something that Giannis had, that he'd be the best player in the world. But I want to say, Anthony Davis, you at one time were better than Giannis.
Yeah. He was Giannis before Giannis, and he can shoot better.
You can make the argument he was better than Giannis.
Right. Agreed.
And you maybe can make the argument right now he's better than Giannis. From the way he's playing. He's playing like the Anthony Davis that was arguably a top player in the league.
And so, Giannis has regressed a little bit this year.
Don't say that. Don't you dare. He didn't mean
Don't
that.
Attack me. Don't attack me, internet.
He didn't mean that.
I meant regressed in like he got younger.
And LeBron is playing well.
Yep.
But I think it's at the point now where, you know, how everybody was like, this should be AD's team. And I think LeBron right now is smart enough to know maybe I do need to take a step back a little bit and stop trying to force up crappy 3-point shots.
Right. Let
me take a step back and see when it, because there's not a lot of guys in the league who can stop Anthony Davis.
Even Anthony Davis realized he needs to take a step back and stop forcing up crappy threes. Like, this is the least amount of threes he's attempted in the last since the 2015-16 season. And yet it's his highest amount of points per game that he's averaged ever in his career. So I think he also realized, like, hey, let me stop taking step back threes and bullshit covered threes and everything like that, and let me just, you know, get in the paint, get to where my bread and butter is. Because he's shooting, not only is he averaging the highest amount of points of his career, but he's shooting the highest field goal percentage of his career. He's at 59%. And then his 3-point percentage is it is the second highest 3-point percentage of his career. His highest was in 2017-18 with the Pelicans at 34%. So, like, if you're hitting, 33, 34%, that's fine for, like, a 3 or 2 a game. But nobody wants to see you taking 5, 6 threes a game if you're only hitting 32, 33%.
The only person who could stop Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis.
Agreed.
There's no, if he should have multiple MVPs at this point in his career. He should be, but the injuries got him, and it's like the same thing kind of happened to DeMarcus Cousins. Remember how good DeMarcus Cousins was? DeMarcus Cousins was one of the best players in the league. When you could make the case that him and AD were on the same floor, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. When they were on the same team, before DeMarcus Cousins got hurt, they looked like they were gonna go to the finals. They were just that good.
Well, Cousins hasn't been the same since that Achilles injury, so
Yeah.
unfortunately, but you know, AD was once one of the best players in the league. He's back to being arguably right now the best player in the league.
Yep.
And DeMarcus Cousins, and I don't know how we got on DeMarcus Cousins, but I remember one person said Anthony Davis is way better than DeMarcus Cousins, and I go pull the stats up, and they were shocked to see how good DeMarcus Cousins was. He had stats, comparable to Anthony Davis, but I'm actually rooting for him because I break his balls, but I've had such a complete turnaround on guys like Embiid and Anthony Davis and stuff lately. I'm more focused on like the Kawhis of the world
Right. But it's also like
and
these
the
type of
Bradley
guys.
Beals.
These type of guys.
Know what I mean?
I yeah.
I was trying to set you up, man. No, go ahead.
No, but I was just gonna follow it up with like these type of guys. I I personally will like break their balls with stuff like this because I know how good they can be. Like Anthony Davis has shown he can be the best player in the league. And when the Lakers won the championship, if you replaced Anthony Davis with any other center in there, even if it was like Jokic or whatever, I don't think they win the championship because Anthony Davis was that good for that championship run. And then this season, yeah, I probably would put Anthony Davis above Giannis at this very point right now.
I
I would
would.
also put him above a bunch of other guys that are in the conversation for, best player in the league. I'd probably put Anthony Davis right now in like top 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably where I'd put him. So it is, and that's the thing. Like I would talk about like him getting hurt and him being street clothes and all that because it's like this is how good he is. If you just played, you would be up there. That's just what it would be, and it sucks that guys like that, especially like DeMarcus Cousins, like now he's playing in Taiwan because the injuries got to him, and it sucks to see that kind of stuff happen. So
Well, he matters. He's a good player because you don't hear anybody care when Kendrick Nunn is sidelined. Nobody cares.
true.
Nobody expects anything out of him anyway. So
That's very true. But you brought up Bradley Beal, so we can segue into that. On a podcast, I forget which podcast it was, Bradley Beal was asked, I think he was asked why he stayed with the Wizards. And
I love it how I'm commenting on guys getting hurt as I'm sitting here crushing diet soda.
damn unhealthy kids.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But so usually a player doesn't admit this kind of thing. But he said the reason he stayed with Washington is because he didn't get any offers with any of the winning teams in free agency. So now he's just kind of stuck with Washington, especially with the whole no trade clause.
I want you to find a clip from the summer
Mm-hmm.
when remember Bradley Beal, he opted out
Yep.
and he wants to test the market, and then all of a sudden he's right back in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about, and I joked, or you joked, or somebody joked, and so you probably get no offers. It's shocking how that happened.
Right.
100, absolutely no, and it's not. I'll take it a step further. It's not even a winning team didn't give him an offer. Nobody gave him an offer because he ain't
Right.
worth that much money.
And because a rebuilding team's not going to offer him any money, because why would they offer all that to Bradley Beal when they're not ready to compete?
He offers nothing, zero, to any team in the NBA. Granted, if he made a minimum salary, okay, he would be a good contributor somewhere.
Right.
However, he makes way too much money. Nobody's going to take on that kind of money for a guy who plays 3 games a month, and he's regressed statistically.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And the
And the
thing is,
Wizards are dumb for bringing him back.
agreed. And the thing is, it's like when he says winning teams didn't give him any offers, the thing is, the winning teams usually don't have the cap space to offer a guy over $100 million. So, of course, you're not going to get any offers unless you're willing to take a big pay cut. Like, because I mean, even if you go down to like the fringe teams just making the playoffs that are technically winning teams, like the Bulls or like the Knicks and those kind of teams that are right there on the bubble, they don't have the cap space either. The Knicks are paying three separate guys $20 million a year, $20+ million a year. The Bulls are paying DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Nick Vucevic. They're paying all them all that kind of money. Like, they don't have the money to then offer you, who, like you said, plays 3 games every other week.
Well, he may have gotten some like barely offers, but that might have been like the janitor of the Washington Wizards told his plumber, who knew a guy at Sal's Pizza who knew the agent of Bradley Beal, and said, "Hey, this team is trying to offer you this much, but it's they're willing to offer you like 20 million over like 3 seasons."
Right.
And he's like, "Hell no, I ain't taking that. Especially Washington. They can give me another. They can pay me more. They can give me more years. So I'm going to stay in Washington. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I like Washington right now, so that after a while I can try to orchestrate my way out, just like I've been trying to do for the past forever." So he's not going to last 5 years in Washington. He will be traded at some point within his contract. And yeah, so he knows exactly what he's doing. Nobody wants him. He played 40 games last season, sat most of the season. He had that wrist thing. He had wrist surgery.
Yep.
Year before that, he played 60 games in 21-22. Played 60 or 57 in 19-20. And then he's only averaged 30 points twice in his career. And this season, he's averaging only 23 points, which is his lowest since the 2015-2016 season. And if he says he wants to win in Washington, I'm starting to get out of breath because I'm starting to get fired up. Plus, I just ate a bunch of turkey burger. I'm trying to slim it down a little bit.
I got you.
Full. So anybody hears every breathing on the mic,
That's
okay. So last season the Wizards finished 35-47. The season before that they finished 34-38. Before that, in 19-20, they were 25-47. 18-19, it was 32-50. They literally have not had a winning record in probably like 6 years. So when he sits out there and says, "I want to play for a winning team," well, newsflash, dumbass, the winning team's not Washington. And the only reason why that team is semi okay this season is because of Kristaps Porzingis, who's been playing like the guy that was in Nick.
right.
Not because of Bradley Beal. He's already missed He's already missed time this year. Now he's missing more time. 3 games. I guess he's gonna miss more than 3 games. Give me a fucking break. 3 games.
I've enjoyed watching the Jordan Goodwin guy more than I have Bradley Beal.
Oh hell yeah! Give me some Denny Avija, or I can't pronounce his last name, but give me some Kristaps. Give me some Kyle Kuzma and his crappy sweaters. And
Kyle Kuzma's fashion is him and Russell Westbrook are like in a competition for the most confusing and weird fashion sense ever.
Well, what's weird about, and I was going to say, give me some Monty Morris. I want some little Rui when he's ready to play. I want a little Rui Hachimura.
Yep.
Like, I want it all.
Daniel Gafford, so, even.
I want some Gafford. Like, bring Thomas Bryant back from the Lakers. Get him back on there.
Exactly.
I want that. So, but yeah, what's so confusing about Westbrook, though, is you see one day he's ready to punch Joel Embiid in the face, and then the next thing you see him, he's on a cover of a magazine, he's wearing a dress.
I know. It's so confusing. And like that picture of Kyle Kuzma with that one sweater where the sleeves were like as long as his body, I'm just like I I just don't get it. And that was the point where I understood how when people get older, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with kids these days?
It gets worse. It really does get worse.
But that was where I understood, like, I see why now. I get it.
I mean, like if I see like somebody leave the house and I'm like some like young lady leave the house and you see her wearing something and I'm thinking I want to call her dad and be like, hey, you know what your daughter's leaving the house in? You know what I mean? You start getting those kind of thoughts in your brain, and that's where you know you're old.
Right.
And I wonder why like old people they get so annoyed about stuff, but then I'm like, if you pay for something, you don't want anybody like, hey, don't drive on my grass because that's my fucking grass and I paid for that. So get it. Like you start getting annoyed at stupid shit.
Right. Right.
And kids start bothering you. Like, get away from me, kid.
Yeah.
You
You're like,
smell and you're loud. Get lost.
exactly. And you're going to do something dumb and you're going to ruin something that I paid for.
Right. Yeah, but if you still have plenty of hurdles you gotta jump over there, pal.
Oh, no. I know. But Kyle Kuzma's getting me there quicker. That's the thing. But,
I was talking about you like becoming a dad or something.
oh,
What
I
did
thought you meant becoming a crotchety old man.
No, you got to get through the baby stage first, and that sucks because, like, as much as everybody's like, "Oh, don't you just miss?" I just have one child. I have a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I stopped at one because when everybody's like, "Oh, don't you just want another one, or don't you miss when she was just a little baby?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "What value did she bring to my life other than anxiety?"
And less sleep.
As a 6 month old. They don't do anything. They
Right.
literally sit there. They don't look at you. They don't care about you. Like they don't care about anything.
I feel like that's how I'm going to be too, is because, like, already with kids, I rather would have them at the stage of, like, that I can, like, play basketball with them or, like, play, like, Nerf gun wars with them and stuff like that. Like, little babies and stuff, I'm kind of just like, I don't want you to throw up on me.
I gotta send you a picture of my Dave and I a couple weeks ago. My daughter's Dave. A
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks ago, well, you know that, but I was just telling her.
Right.
Um, we had a hardcore wrestling match,
Okay.
so like that shit's fun. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
And it was like a much better when I could be like, when they're a baby, you're like, I gotta go to the fucking store, but now I gotta pack this diaper bag. I gotta get formula. I gotta change this thing. Like now it's like now I'm sitting there and she's chilling like, hey, you wanna go to fucking Chipotle and go grab a you know what I mean? It's like, okay, get your
Right.
shit on, let's go. Like it's great. It's awesome when it's like, hey, you want to go to the movies and you're just crushing like Sour Patch Kids and stuff. The infant stage offers no value to anything, and you're sitting there as a dad. You're supposed to go, shouldn't I like feel something for this kid? But you're kind of like, no, I don't. It's not doing anything. When am I supposed to like this thing? So yeah,
So
Kyle Kuzma's
essentially,
sweater.
so, I was gonna say. So essentially, you're saying the Washington Wizards GM is looking at Bradley Beal like an infant.
He doesn't do
There's
anything.
no, he's not returning any value.
He adds nothing. He just takes, and adds nothing.
He just takes all the money away from you, but doesn't give you anything in return.
Correct. And that's exactly what a
And
baby does.
exactly. But the thing with Bradley Beal, though, that I just don't get to is, so I'm looking at like his salary and stuff on Basketball Reference. So far in his career, he's made $177 million.
That's it?
Just from his salary. That's not including the years upcoming in his current contract. That's all the years from this year prior.
And I think he has sponsorships, too. Like, who the fuck wants to sponsor him?
I have no idea.
It's like, kid, what do you want to do when you get older? Who's your favorite player? Bradley Beal. I'd be like, can you go to the psychologist's office? Because we got to talk. You're obviously out of your fucking mind if you think Bradley Beal's your favorite player.
Exactly.
Do you ever see a kid wearing a Bradley Beal jersey? I've never seen one in my entire life.
Now that you say it, I haven't. Because when John Wall was on the team, everyone had John Wall jerseys.
You're damn right they did, because John Wall was a stud.
Exactly. And then after John Wall, I saw more Russell Westbrook jerseys.
Yeah, because Russell Westbrook is good.
Exactly.
Bradley Beal offers nothing. So when Bradley Beal came back, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, I was just going to say, so in the upcoming years, he makes next year 43 million, then 46, then 50, then 53, and then a player option in 26-27 for
that he's going to take.
Oh, for 57 million? Hell yeah, he's going to take that. He would be dumb at that point if he's not going to take that, especially because by that point, that's the 5th year in his contract. He's already 29, so he's going to be 34.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to take that.
He'll be at Carmelo Anthony like level at that point.
Exactly. And to put all that together, he's only made the All-Star game 3 times in his career. He's made All-NBA once, and he was All-Rookie. That's it. That's the end of his accolades in a 10, 11-year career so far.
And if I were the Wizards, I'd be like, you sign this contract right now, or you do not come back. You know what I mean? It's like, I know it always reverts back to this, but it's like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to go find another chick. And then she's like, I can't, And then the next thing you know, he's back. He's like, oh, baby, you're looking good. That's what he did to the Warriors. He came back, or the Wizards. He came back to the Wizards. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I love you, baby. You looking good, I love you. I want to be with you forever. There's nobody else I want to be with. But that's because nobody else wanted him. So now he's like, fuck, I got nobody else to go to, so I'm just going to go to the Wizards.
Honestly, the Wizards should have just called his bluff and be like, all right, here's $20 million a year.
I don't know why these people don't play hardball and be like, if you walk out that door right now, there's a chance you might not even be welcome back, but there is a 100% guarantee that if you walk out of this room right now, the offer is going to be significantly less than what we're going to offer you. And then I would be like totally upfront. I'd be like, you offer nothing to this team. You're hurt more than you play. You don't even sell jerseys. Kids don't even want to be seen wearing a jersey with your name on it because you suck so much.
I bet you there's already more Porzingis jerseys than there are Bradley Beal jerseys.
There better be. You know how they give the kids in underdeveloped countries, they give them the losing Super Bowl t-shirts?
Uh-huh.
So they have clothes?
Uh-huh.
That's what they did with his jersey.
You'll only find them overseas. You won't find them.
The merchandise guys goes, we're not selling these things. What do you want me to do with them? Let's send them to Zimbabwe.
They're probably on the, how when players leave, then the jersey's 75% off. His
right,
is probably
$140 jersey was $19 now.
Yep, it's probably like that all the time.
Then you can't wear it anyways because everybody goes, dude, you were in that. He's not even on a team anymore. He sucks. The Wizard. That just goes to show how stupid the Wizards are by signing that fool to a contract.
Oh, agreed.
He sucks.
So, to move on to...
Did I mention he sucks?
For good measure, he sucks.
I just don't understand with him, though. I don't know where all the hype is with him. Why would you offer him a max contract? He's not getting anything.
he had those 2 really good seasons that were then cut short by injury, and like that was really about it.
And then he goes limping off the floor last night. I'm like, give me a break.
Yep, I know, it's ridiculous. But to wrap up our prepared topics, Trae Young and Nate McMillan apparently had an exchange, leading to Trae Young not showing up for the game. I think it was like a few nights ago. And based on an interview on a podcast, one of the, I forget which NBA insider it was. It was one of the national NBA insiders. Essentially just said it's pretty clear what side the players are on, and they're mainly on Nate McMillan's side. They said it's sort of like the Zach Wilson thing, where he just kind of pissed his own way away with the locker room, and now the locker room siding with the other people instead of the star, who's supposed to be the star guy.
Well, here's the takeaway from all this. When you start doing that shit, then you get Mike White. And then what happens is you throw 369 yards, but then you also throw 2 interceptions with no touchdown. And your team also sucks, and you don't develop anybody. Now, that said, Trae Young is not a Zach Wilson. Trae Young is a top 10 player in the league. I'll say top 10.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So apparently there was he's got into arguments with coaches before. This isn't his first spat with a coach. But it sounds like such a stupid issue. But then at the same time, this might have been something to where things had just been, that was the boiling point for this.
Right.
Because maybe somebody took it as Trae Young just doesn't want to practice. He does. So what I'm taking away from all this is Trae Young just doesn't show up to practice. Everybody wants to know where the hell is he,
mm-hmm.
and he's probably laying on some bed or whatever they have, and he's getting his shoulder massaged. He's drinking a Kool-Aid, and he's not practicing. Nate McMillan's like, "Hey, where are you? It's practice," and he's like, "Yo, coach, I'm getting my shoulder work done." And probably at that point, Nate McMillan's like, your ass needs to get to practice. You never cleared this shit with me. I don't know where you are. This is, any employer that you do that to is a, no show, no call, whatever the hell they call it.
Mm-hmm.
But Trae Young thinks that, he's entitled to basically do whatever he wants. So he just doesn't show up to practice. And it's not confirmed that that's what happened, but I'd probably say that's probably what happened. Probably. Miscommunication means that Trae Young probably didn't say where he's going to be. So he's in there getting a Deshaun Watson while, guys are in practice doing drills and stuff. But, yeah, he's a pain in the ass, but he's the best player in the league, and he's the reason why you're in 4th in the Eastern Conference right now. All right, so you got to kind of tread lightly on that. And I mean, I know Nate McMillan wants to, assert his role as the coach and all that type of stuff, but you got to figure out how to connect with this guy, because this guy is the future of your team. Right. Him and Murray are supposed to be the best backcourt in the National Basketball Association. They're supposed to catapult you to at least title contention. Right. So you got to figure out how to make that work. But when you tell a guy, for one, this stuff should be private. And when you're Nate McMillan, you say, well, you're going to play off the bench tonight. Okay, don't do that. You're going to make the guy come off the bench, and then everybody's going to say, why is Trae Young coming off the bench? When you could have easily had a man conversation, said, hey, man, listen, you're the leader of this team. You're the best player I have. You're the best player in the NBA. However, I'm the head coach, all right? If you're going to disrespect me, you need to do it behind closed doors, okay? If you want to come in behind closed doors and you want to tell me to go fuck myself and you don't like my plays and you don't like all that shit, that's fine. But don't out me in front of the team and don't make me look like an asshole. Because we're all on the same team. We're all working together. But there are guys on this team who are younger, and they need to, like, I'm the coach, and I'm not going to let anybody disrespect me. Now, you're still going to get treated differently because you're Trae Young. However, like I said, if you have a problem with me, you need to do it when it's just you and I, and then have at it, say whatever you want. But for Nate McMillan to say you're coming off the bench tonight, you don't do that. The guy's not. This isn't college. You're not going to punish Trae Young.
Yep. That's a thing that I feel like a lot of coaches, especially the ones that come from college to the pros in any sport, they get that part wrong where they just think that like they can punish the player by doing something like that. Whereas like, nah, in pros, a lot of times like the GM, if you want to keep your job as a coach, the GM's going to side with the player, especially if it's a player at the caliber of Trae Young.
Right, there's a reason why your team is playing so well.
Exactly. So you're already digging yourself a hole by saying that. And I agree with you. That kind of stuff has to be behind closed doors if you don't want unnecessary drama surrounding your team and then having more distractions to go along with everything when you could have just summed it all up easily and had a conversation in the first place.
Now, is Trae Young a pain in the ass? Probably.
Probably. He seems like he would be.
100%. He's probably the biggest pain in the ass on the planet. However, you can't do that to your star player. You got to keep that guy motivated. You got to connect with him. You got to figure out how to make it work. And putting somebody on the bench is kind of childish to me, to be honest with you. It's not a good move at all. And the reason why this should have never even been leaked out to the media to begin with.
Agreed. 100%.
So I mean, let's get it together. I mean, Atlanta, you're fourth in the Eastern Conference. You got a great thing going. You got Bogdanovich coming back from injury. Hopefully Hunter's going to come back, and you have Mike's boy,
John Collins.
No. Okongwu. You got Collins. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Like, you have a good team. Like, let's not fuck it up with stupid shit. But if you're Nate McMillan, you need to say to Trae, all I'm asking for you, okay? Yeah, I get it. You do more than everybody else does in a game. Your usage rating's about 3,000, so I get it. You're tired and you want to practice. I totally get it. However, you need to let me know where you are. That way, I know I'm not going to babysit you. I'm going to give you free reign to do whatever you want. If you don't want to practice, you don't have to practice. Just keep me in the loop. So that the guys, if they ask me, hey, where's Trae, I know what to tell them. And it makes it look like I have some control over my team.
Exactly.
Even though I really don't, but I'm just going to pretend like I do.
I mean, that's kind of how it is with all the coaches anyway. You kind of just fake having control over your team because the moment anyone...
Unless you're Pop.
I mean, true. But then in that case, too, the moment a guy wants out, he's still going to get out. Like, Kawhi wanted out, he's out of there. DeJounte Murray was just kind of, I mean, he didn't demand a trade or anything, but like, you know, he got out of there.
But look at Ty Lue. Literally, LeBron shoulder checked him on national TV, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. You know why? Because it's LeBron James. Not suggesting Trae Young is LeBron James, but he's pretty damn good.
That's how superstar players are, especially if they request a coach. And it's not you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get that coach one way or another.
Case in point, Brooklyn, Steve Nash, even though they got rid of him. But
true.
I mean, Jacque Vaughn is like a good coach. Everybody likes him. He brings positive energy. He's got a cool beard. He's, Brooklyn's doing better under him. But honestly, if KD and Kyrie if they don't want him there, he's not going to be there either. So, exactly. I mean, that duo's got rid of 2 coaches already. Atkinson and Steve Nash. There's not a coach in the league that if a player's that valuable to the team. Frank Vogel.
Yep.
The guy brought the Lakers to a title, and now the next season he's gone. So let's be careful here.
And
McMillan. But
even
Trae Young, stop being a pain in the ass. And just if you don't want to practice and pretend your shoulder's bothering you, just fucking tell somebody where you are.
right, because most of the times too with superstar players, if you want a rest day, you get a rest day. Kawhi has had 500 rest days in a matter of 50 games.
Right. It's like, remember in school, if you're like, I remember so many times I'd be like, Coach, I don't want to play basketball. Can I just go work out? Because it's in the middle, I wrestled, and I was like, it's in the middle of wrestling season. I'd rather be using my time constructively lifting weights than doing something that's not going to help me.
Right.
And in this case, Trae Young, you get that treatment. You're like, okay, but here's a pass. Don't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like that type of shit. Exactly. Same thing with Trae Young. Okay, you're tired. We get it, honey. But you just, keep your coach in the loop.
Exactly. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah.
But that's it for us. I actually do not have a what you got this week. Like I said, work's been kicking my ass, so I didn't have any time to bring one up. And I know we don't have fantasy basketball segment. That'll return next week.
I'm out of breath anyways. I've been yelling the entire time.
I know. I didn't think this episode was going to be as worked up as it was. But obviously we both think a lot of these people are bullshit.
Well, it's stupid. The only thing that would, for one, if you're going to say Scottie Barnes, if you're going to make a big deal about Scottie Barnes, I'm going to get annoyed. If people are going to talk about Bradley Beal and when it comes to his injuries, anytime I see Bradley Beal not play, I get fucking irritated. Whenever I see, Anthony Davis, it was nice to say good stuff about him for once.
True. I think that's the only thing we didn't get fired up about. We were actually happy with that one.
Right. But I'm so sick and tired of everybody it doesn't make sense to me because if you say Scottie Barnes is in a slump, okay, he hasn't been shooting well, but his points totals have been there, right?
True. Yep.
However, when I said that Giannis' percentages sucked, everybody defended him and said, well, look at how many points he scored. So which one is it, people?
I know. That's the thing. Excuse me. People pick and choose the argument they want to make based on the player they like.
Hold on, Mike's calling me.
Oh, God.
Hi.
Are you guys still recording?
Yeah, you're live on remember this show, The Atlantic Files?
Yeah. What's going on?
Nothing. We're talking about we just got done talking about Bradley Beal, and then we were talking about Scottie Barnes, my man's, and we're still on right now. So you want to say hello?
Yeah. Can Alex hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, he can.
All right. Well, can we say that the Nets are extremely thankful that they did not succumb to the pressure of trying to trade Kevin Durant for Scottie Barnes, because Scottie Barnes has not taken that sophomore leap that we all expected.
Anyways, I'm not going to listen to that. Give me a break.
I love that. Davis says, hi, Mike. Oh, my God. That was hilarious. I was wondering where he was going to go with that, too. And the moment he brought up Scottie Barnes, I was like, oh, no, here he goes.
Yeah, I ain't listen to that.
Dave also says hi to you.
Hi, baby. How are you? Did you do your homework?
Oh, God. That is one thing that I was glad about growing up with. I did not want to do school ever again. I hated school.
Well, it's worked out because we're, hosting a highly successful podcast.
Of course. World renowned.
It's growing. It's growing, so.
World renowned. Davis says you suck at basketball trades.
She's talking to Mike, not me.
Ah, okay. Oh, look who it is. Mike is here.
Get lost.
Can you guys hear me live from the car?
We can, yes.
Is it clear? Is it listenable?
It actually is. It's
You're
clear.
never listenable.
It's actually clearer than your little paranormal station.
All right. Well, I'll record the rest of the podcast with you guys from the car, as I have 20 minutes until I get home. But I do have to stop and buy Katie some dessert. So we'll see what we pass on the way. But
What does she want?
She wants ice cream or a cookie or some water ices or something. I don't know. But I want to thank Dennis. I want to thank both of you guys, first and foremost. Dennis, thank you for winning this week in football. And for Alex, for being number one pick in the football draft, rookie draft. I couldn't thank you guys. Alex, I know you have a long read with me, and I'm sorry for that.
This is the most sense he's ever made.
You're sounding like a robot now. Now you're breaking up.
You know what? He's never looked better either.
All right, well,
Oh.
whatever. But can you hear me now? Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As I was saying to Dennis before, I think I got hung up on. I'm very thankful that the Brooklyn Nets did not succumb to the pressure of trying to trade for Scottie Barnes, because Dennis's man's is looking like a boy right now. He has not taken that second-year leap.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
And I honestly think, it might be time to get Ron Harper Jr. some more playing time, because Scottie Barnes isn't doing it.
You're out of your mind.
Are we sure you're not drinking and driving? You haven't been drinking tonight, have you?
I had a Diet Coke, but that was about it.
Okay. At least you're staying safe.
Me too, and I had a Diet Pepsi, and I still make sense.
I make sense, plenty of sense.
I don't.
But
Dennis, I'll let you take it.
This might be the first podcast ever recorded while moving 67 miles an hour. Just saying.
Podcast history.
Just don't flip the car on the pod, because then we'd be like, "Oh, guy's murder was captured, or death was captured live on a podcast."
Live across YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
Exactly. But no, I'm sorry I haven't been on the podcast lately. You guys, here's the thing. You guys always schedule on the worst time.
Show's never been better.
I beg to differ.
Hey, we're growing, baby. We're growing.
At a snail's pace right now. Or as they say in Western New York, at Dennis Clausen's pace.
Well, I don't live in Western New York.
Where do you live?
Idiot. Central.
Whatever. North, south, east, west, central.
Okay, have a good night, Mike. Take care, pal. Drive home. Drive safe.
I'm here
Tell Kate Anson hello.
Here for another 15 minutes, so let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, no, we're good. We've been on here for a while. Make sure you get her some good ice cream.
Yep, get her some Turkey Hill. It's always a classic.
The caramel vanilla is my favorite from Turkey Hill, so.
All right, Mike, we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
So, anyway, looks like that's all we got, unless you got anything else to get off your chest.
No, we're good. Just end it now.
End it all now. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode. Oh, God. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not equipped for that. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of The Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. We're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Search The Atlantic Files. You'll find us on there. We're everywhere you get your podcast to if you like that more. We had a lot of people tuning in on Spotify. We got our Spotify Wraps. We posted that on our Instagram as well. Everywhere on social medias, we're either The Atlantic Files or just Atlantic Files. So follow us. Subscribe, tell a friend so we can make this our full-time job, because that's what we want to do, damn it. Thank you for watching, though.
Or if there's some rich older woman and you want to take care of me, then that's fine. I'm sure my wife will understand.
We'll take free money. That's fine.
But you see these guys with cougars. I'm like, how did this guy get hurt?
I don't understand how anybody gets anybody anymore. I'm hitting that old stage of just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, but you see like this 22-year-old dipshit, and he's got like this hot 56-year-old woman. She's rich. She's buying him a PlayStation and shit.
Why can't people just buy me shit for the reason of just buying me shit? I don't get it.
Well, we got to be like, put up an Amazon wish list like the OnlyFans girls do.
Exactly, and just have people buy us stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. We will catch you guys next week.